What is up, nerds? Cloud here with another Final Fantasy playthrough. We are starting Final Fantasy 2. We beat Final Fantasy 1 a few days ago, and it seems like the video got pretty good reception for this channel's audience. We got about 13 views on it right now as of this video, so it seems the response seems pretty positive. So I think for Final Fantasy 2, I'm going to do the same thing I did for Final Fantasy 1. Basically, I'm going to play through the game at my own leisure, and then after, just do some background talking. It did take me quite a bit of editing to finish that. I'm definitely a live streamer more than I am a planner recorder type of gamer. So that was definitely out of my comfort zone, but it seemed the response was pretty good. Final Fantasy 2 is it's by far one of my least favorite Final Fantasies. As of this moment, nothing beats Final Fantasy 12. That's the only Final Fantasy in the series I've never played. Correction, the only Final Fantasy game I played and quit. I just could not get into the Gambit system, which I'm looking forward to revisiting. But in this game, there's no leveling up. It is about, like, if you get hit, your HP goes up. If you attack, your proficiency with that type of weapon or magic goes up. If you block or defend, your evasion goes up. So it's not your traditional XP leave. It doesn't exist that way. So very, very different. So yeah, excited to get through it. Obviously after this one, we go into 3. I think 3 is where I might change my gameplay style from just talking. It definitely is gonna be 4. Final Fantasy 4, I want to play through. I enjoy that game to a high degree. And then I'm actually going to try to play After Years. I tried to play it before, but like, I think that I'm getting into the rambling session. You are valued. You are appreciated. Like, subscribe, comment, do all the things, all the stuff, press all the buttons. Yeah. So starting a new game, we got Firion, Maria, Guy, and Leon. We're gonna keep their names. Jesus, it just starts. A long-lived peace. Cats roam free with humans. Even cross bridges. Is that an end? I don't mean to be dancing with the destruction of a village. The Emperor of Palamacia has called forth monsters from the underworld and has begun his campaign for world conquest. We must go. A rebel army arose in the kingdom of Fynn to thwart the Emperor's plans. Yataze. But the rebels' castle fell to an all-out assault by the Empire. You shall not pass. Oh no. Left with little choice, the rebels withdrew to the remote town of Altir. Across the way. 4 youths from Fynn also found themselves fleeing the Imperial forces. They had lost their parents at the hands of the Empire. But their escape wasn't over. Yeah, one of the very iconic fight, this one. Our 4 main characters attacking. That's not a glitch. That's not a glitch. That's not a glitch. Get him, girl. I can't say it's my favorite Final Fantasy I've ever played, but, you know, we got through it. So, as always, you are valued, you are appreciated, and... So after getting stomped out by the Black Knights while trying to escape from the Emperor summoning the gates of hell, we landed in a new area with a robed character and seemingly a princess trying to resurrect Firion, Maria, and Guy. Waking up with no memory on how Firion got there, as he walks out, he sees 2 of his compadres. Though the team's happy to be together, they do see that Leon is nowhere to be found. Not too worried and hoping that Leon is safe and sound somewhere, Firion thanks the princess for saving him. In that process, he wishes to fight back since their hometown was burned down. They want to join the rebel cause. Princess Hilda denies them the ability to join the cause simply because they're not ready and they've already lost so much. And I want to take this point just to talk about the keyword system. Something really cool that Final Fantasy II did is when you hear a specific word that's highlighted in red, you can ask or learn what that means and then ask someone, whether it's someone who is aware of what the word is or has no idea. It kind of just helps shape the conversations and dialogue that you have rather than just pressing A and reading. It just adds a slight layer of, do I use this item? Do I say this word? Can I learn this? So we start the game off with learning Wild Rose, which is synonymous with the rebel cause. Since we can't join the army, the team doesn't want to stand idly by. We are given a hint that Leon might be in Flynn, which is where Hilda got excommunicado from. The intent is to go see if we can find any traces of Leon. A drastic difference to me playing this game over Final Fantasy 1 is in Final Fantasy 1 you had to talk to everyone to know where to go next. Talking to characters in this game has that same exact mentality, but there's a few characters that you meet along the way that help share the narrative in a better, much fleshed out way. After getting as much information on our next step, as well as gearing ourselves for the adventure ahead, we leave to go to Gatrea, which will lead us over to Castle Flynn. But before we get into that, it's now time to talk about what I believe is the worst element of the game. Unfortunately, the leveling up system within Final Fantasy II just did not land with me. It is a tiresome, very back and forth system, especially for individuals just trying to continue through the game. So there's no traditional experience. What you do is if you attack, you gain strength, you gain efficiency in the weapon that you're using. So broadsword, axe, bow. So if you have a character like Firion, you could just make him a mage. It doesn't matter what he is. There's no like specific class, so I appreciate the freedom from that area. Any character can do anything. And spoiler, there's typically only 3 characters that you have. The 4th character almost always has a already predetermined destiny. That being said, it just never landed with me. It's very tone deaf. I don't enjoy hitting myself to gain more HP to progress through the game. So enough about the crappy leveling up system. On to the story. After leaving Altair, we go to Fynn. When we get there, there's a bunch of Imperials standing guard everywhere. They're way over leveled for us to fight. So we make our way over to the pub. We speak to the bartender. We give the code word. We head downstairs. Arriving downstairs, we see a soldier laying in bed. Interacting with the soldier and using the Wild Rose code phrase, we come to find out that this is Scott. This is the lover of Princess Hilda. After exchanging a few words and before leaving, he hands us over his ring, which is known as the Scott's ring. He also has a departing word for Princess Hilda, but before he transcends this mortal coil, he tells us not to tell her. Quickly arriving back to Altair, we inform Hilda of Scott's passing, which then she sees that we have potential to help the cause. We speak with Minwoo, who then joins our party and gives us a canoe to go to our next destination. Speaking with Princess Hilda, we learn the words dreadnought and airship, which will come into play later on. Having Minwoo in the party opens us up to our 4th party member. He also has incredible restorative magic. Using the canoe, we get to the port town of Paloom. We talk to what I'm going to call a pirate. We take a ship over to Poft, which we need to get over to Salamand. Arriving to Salamand, we meet the homie Joseph. After speaking with him, he is even hesitant to give us any information on the next part of our quest. Speaking with Joseph, we ask about the keyword Mithril, and he gives us a direction of the Summit Falls. This information is shrouded in the fact that there are hostages there, and Joseph wants to see our capabilities. Locating Summit Falls was a breeze with the canoe, and with the information that we had from Joseph saying that there is hostages, we make quick work by identifying them. We meet a familiar face who gives us more information. Joseph's daughter, Nellie, is amongst those that were taken. So now we can see why Joseph was adamant that we could do something. Once we reach the end of this level, we fight a sergeant. We mollywop him. After defeating the sergeant, we find the mithril in the chest, and we are heading back to Hilda to showcase our new hardware. When presenting Hilda with the mithril, she says that the townsmen, specifically the weaponsmiths, can get to work making formidable armor that can go against the Empire. After the weaponsmith creates the mithril equipment, we head back to Hilda, and she lets us know that our next quest will be at Bafsk. We need to destroy the Dreadnought. Reaching Bafsk and talking to the townspeople, we hear a whisper of we'll be needing a pass to get on the Dreadnought. Also, we identify what looks like an Imperial soldier. He's actually part of the rebel cause. Saying the word Dreadnought, he identifies and says, "Hey, I know that you're a part of the team." Lets us through to head to the sewers. The caves are only 2 floors, however, they're expansive, and once we reach the 2nd floor in this long corridor, we meet the Dark Knight. The Dark Knight's silhouette is very familiar to us, but after a few seconds of talking, he leaves, and then we're accosted by Borgin. To no one's surprise, the enemies retreat into the Dreadnought, taking that airship into the sky to do some nasty business. But the Dreadnought has already scorched a few of the areas that we visited before, reaffirming that we need to get rid of it. A character I haven't referenced yet is the 2nd iteration of Sid. He is a savant when it comes to anything to do with airships. We ask him specifically about the keyword Sunfire, which will help us take down the Dreadnought. We're starting back to Altair and speaking with Princess Hilda about the Sunfire. We lose Minwu because since the Dreadnought has attacked different areas, the king's health has regressed. And after speaking with Princess Hilda, we learn that the crest for the Sunfire resides at the Kashuan Kingdom. The king's still trying to support his oh my gosh. The king's still trying to support his constituents. When you ask him about the Sunfire, he specifically says that you will need to get the Goddess's Bell to break the seal around. The Goddess's Bell is located a little bit north of Salamand, and the homie Joseph's there, and he's got a vehicle that can get us through the snow. Using the snowcraft, we reach the perfectly titled Snow Cavern. After venturing through about 5 floors, we fight the Admontoise, just an incredibly large turtle. Also, just want to take this moment to say the homie Guy can speak Beaver. After defeating, we get the Goddess Bell. Trying to leave, Borg stops us in our tracks and says that he'll do everything in his power to make sure that we never escape with the Goddess Bell. And from my opinion, one of the most shocking reveals in a Final Fantasy game out of the 2 that have been created at this point. Joseph blocks a ball that's going to hit us, surpassing that of Indiana Jones and not just running away, but protecting Firion, Guy, and Maria from being crushed. Joseph succumbs to his injuries. With the Goddess Bell in hand, we head over to Kashuan Keep through the transportation method of Sid. I don't know if this is supposed to be the same airship, but you could see the Dreadnought is using some kind of Krabby Patty claw to snatch up an airship midair, just showing how dangerous they are. With no way to harness the Sunfire, we move to the door behind the flame. We utilize the Goddess Bell to unlock the Kashuan Keep's. Right after opening the door and walking forward, we meet up with Gordon, who says that he came here also to harness the Sunfire, but needs to find the Eagle's torch to be able to harness it, and joins our party for the foreseeable future. Reaching the end, we find that a red soul is guarding the Eagle's torch. We head back out to the entrance and we utilize the Eagle's torch to harness the Sunfire. So with the location of the Dreadnought in BFE, with the Eagle's torch, and with the pass in hand, we make our way on like a Disney trip to the Dreadnought. Deep in the Dreadnought, we see Hilda has been kidnapped and Sid. Sid gives us a great hint that if we toss the Sunfire into the engine, something great will happen for us. So reaching the engine room, we are accosted again by the Dark Knight. I literally almost said his name, but no time for games. We got to roll out, jump on the airship. Quick sidebar, that airship that the Dreadnought wasn't trying to grab was the same one that Sid was using. The dreadnought is imploding. We make it out safely, swiftly, and accurately. Making it back, we check in on the king, whose health has been declining recently. Knowing he's also going to leave this mortal coil, he turns to the three characters, Gordon, Minwoo, and Firion, and asks them each a task in the event that he does pass. For Gordon, he wishes for him to stand by Hilda's side and lead the army. For Minwoo, he asks if he can find the ultimate magic, the stuff of legends, to combat the Empire. And for Firion and company, he asks if we can go to Deist, the home of the Dragoons, to search out the last Dragoon, knowing that they're extinct, but he believes that there's at least one. After the passing of the king, the team makes its way over to Palum so that we can try to catch any ride if possible, so we can make it to Deist. Of course, we strike a deal with a pirate that ceased to try to steal all of our merchandise in Gil. Layla, the pirate commander, sicks her entire squad onto us, and they are met with swift justice. So after teaching the crew a lesson, they learn the error of their ways and actually join the team. Not actually in our party, but they support us. We steal the ship, is basically how I view it. And now we get access to all the seas, not just through the canoe. We take the ship and we're heading to Deist. So upon arriving here, just a little bit of background, because I thought this area was super cool and interesting lore-wise for Final Fantasy II. But when we land here, we find out through records that Deist, I probably said it four different ways at this point, but this area was the Kingdom of Dragoons, and the Empire poisoned the water, causing all the wyverns to die. We meet one who gives us an egg that we want to take that egg to the life spring, but before that, a fun little possible connection to other stories. The mother that we meet, Elena, her son's name is Cain. Cain shows up in Final Fantasy IV, and there's another character that we'll meet later on, but who knows? Maybe it's the same Dragoon. Heading north just a little bit, we go into the Deist Cavern. We crush all the enemies in here. We find the spring. We place the egg inside. Nothing much more we could do with the egg right now. It's got to, I almost want to say fervorize, but I'm not sure if that's the right answer. Having succeeded in the king's wishes, we travel back to Altair. Gordon now sits the throne in taking over for the army. He asked that we talk to Princess Hilda since she's been acting kind of strange lately. That kind of puts us off on a weird start, so we go talk to the princess, and I don't think things are going well. So after destroying the Holocrux that exists within the Snake, Firion's party, to help the storyline progress a bit further, we're notified that the real Princess Hilda was taken to Polymacia to be given as a prize by the Emperor. We won't stand for that. Also, how Layla infiltrated our good graces is crazy to me for this story. Gordon literally gives up command of the rebel army just so he can go run that fade. Reaching the Colosseum to win back Hilda, which is a crazy sentence to say out loud. For the first time, we meet the Emperor. He gives us a little speech, and then we end up fighting a behemoth, destroy him easily. After defeating the behemoth, he allows us to go see him, and this is the one opportunity we get to end this war.
May I approach the bitch?
What did you say?
I said, may I approach the bench?
The Dark Knight that we still don't know who it is, it throws us into a dungeon, and we are saved by the thief himself, Paul. On our escape, we find Princess Hilda captured, which is, I've just said the same thing twice, but the homie Gordon is like, we gotta get back now. So now more than ever, face to face with the Emperor, we need way more power. So enough is enough. We are gonna take back Castle Finn. Layla's waiting for us, which I thought was always sus, but she helps us take out Gatos, who's been sitting the throne since getting the Princess Hilda out there. Let's try that again. Getting Princess Hilda removed from the castle. So talking with Hilda and Gordon, we learn some new keywords: Mask, Ultimatum, Mysidia, and Ekmictelius. The intent of these, some are key items and some are phrases that unlock those specific key items. Using the keyword Ekmictelios right next to where Gordon's sitting against the wall on the right, we unlock a secret area that gives us a white mask. Once we get the mask, we know that our next destination is to go speak to the mages in Mysidia. We travel what feels like I don't know where I'm going, but we find Mysidia. Talking to a few of the old school VVs, we realize that below Mysidia is where we need to place the mask. Now we really need to go to BFE to what's called the tropical island that sits dead center, never eat soggy, to the south. Like at the very end, flat earthers rejoice. This is the place for you. In a very anticlimactic fight, we face off against the Bighorn, we get the Black Mask, and we are officially done with this long level. Traveling back to Mysidia, we get some more dialogue that the next item that we need with the mask combined, not technically combined, but together. Crazy, right? We need to get what's called a crystal rod, and that's found in the cave of Mysidia to the east. We see a doppelganger of Firion and the key item Black, and the Black Mask key item allows us entry. After exploring the area post the Black Mask, we end up finding the crystal rod somewhere near the 5th floor. It's time to dip set. So the best cutscene on the GBA version for Final Fantasy II is this Leviathan scene. There's something about being in the vast ocean and then it's taking you under through a big circle that just gets me. Inside the Leviathan, we see a few more survivors and we meet what we think is a Dragoon. We show him a pendant that we got showcasing our alignment with the Dragoons. The Dragoon is also on the quest for the Ultima Tomb and lets us know that there's a ship up ahead. We just have to get past the monster. So Ricard joins the party. After defeating the boss and rescuing everyone, we leave, and now it's time to take that crystal rod and bring it over to a big tower. So unlocking the Mysidia Tower, we have to climb 10 flights of stairs to reach the Ultima Tomb. Through that process, we have to fight a fire Gygus, thunder, and an ice one. Littered with monsters everywhere. Just let me live. Getting to the top floor, we see the homie Minwoo. I always thought it was weird that he was here before we were. Didn't we use a crystal rod to unlock it? In any case, he is the catalyst that gets us to open up the seal. He destroys it using all of his power. Unfortunately, just like Joseph, he succumbs to his wounds, helping the party. While we're traveling there, we see that there's a huge cyclone right outside the castle gates, but we can't do anything with that now. And speaking with Gordon about the situation, he says that we'll have to have wings to reach the cyclone. Fast forward, there's a mirror that shows you the thing that you want more than anything in this world. Shoutouts to Harry Potter. Showcasing the pendant that is dear and near to the Dragoons. It showcases that egg that we left in the life spring, and it suddenly says that a wyvern is coming for us. But like in a good way. Jumping onto the wyvern, the team and Ricard head up to deal with what we believe to be is the Emperor who's in the cyclone, which is metal as fuck. Reaching the top floor, we realize that it is in fact the Emperor who's been controlling this cyclone, who probably could have done a lot more damage, but what an idiot. Fighting against him and his goons, he tries to take us out personally. That is not a fate that happens. After defeating him, all is well in the world. Firion and Maria, for some reason, two-step and have a phenomenal time. I don't know why Guy doesn't want to dance to this scene, but our story is far from over. Unfortunately, upon having a great time, a soldier comes in saying that someone else has replaced the Emperor, and that individual's name is Leon. So for the big reveal, the Dark Knight that we've been kind of running into but never directly having to have conflict with turns out to be Leon, which is Maria's brother, the character that we escaped with at the beginning of this game. Unfortunately, he did not have the same fate of staying with the team. He reverted to a darker path. Our next destination is Castle Palomacia, but the fortress is situated super high in the mountains. The only way to get there is to utilize an airship. With that information of needing an airship, we go to the one person we know we could trust, and that's Sid. Unfortunately, from the previous battles, Sid isn't feeling too well, but like the good man that he is, he let... Taking the airship, we find Castle Palomacia, and I gotta say this right now. This is the worst parking job I've ever done. Why did they have it that you have to land behind the building, like 2-3 frames behind it? It's egregious. Once we reach the very top of Castle Palomacia, we see Leon sitting upon the throne, challenging him and trying to have Maria speak to reason. The Emperor actually shows up, not truly defeated, but the manifestation of him completely. in his most evilest of forms. He outthrows Leon's very short reign. And with the Emperor threatening to kill us, we see that there's no way that Ricard is going to let this happen. Standing firm in honor and dignity, Ricard Highwind takes the ultimate sacrifice. Ricard letting us escape, we make it back to Castle Flynn and let Princess Hilda know the situation that we're in now. We reminisce over our fallen comrades and introduce Leon. Obviously, Princess Hilda's hesitant, but Leon seems to have turned a new leaf within a matter of minutes. Similar to the Final Fantasy I approach, there has been a gate that's opened, essentially to hell. It's called the Jade Passage, which I think is outlandish. Reaching the end of the Jade Passage, we reach Pandemonium, which is the dopest name, I think. 70,000 floors of Pandemonium, bunch of tough enemies that we have to get through. We finally reach another portal. After reaching the top floor of Pandemonium, we reach the Emperor for the final confrontation. We have the original party of Leon, Firion, Guy, and Maria. We absolutely dome rock this MFer. That is the end of our Final Fantasy II playthrough. I have to say, I do want to apologize. I did a lot more content for the Final Fantasy I playthrough. Final Fantasy II is honestly probably my least favorite Final Fantasy, and I played these back to back before when I did this about 2-3 years ago. I was starting the Final Fantasy Gauntlet run. Yeah, I apologize. Looking back at the video, a lot of my facial expressions, like I'm literally playing the game, but I'm like very stoic. That's because I kept telling myself during the gameplay that like, man, I'm just gonna do like a wrap up summary thing. So where in Final Fantasy 1, I talked and I had the audio. I lost that luster during the Final Fantasy 2 playthrough, unfortunately. So I do want to apologize for that. I don't think that it's my best work. I might have missed a few things for the story as well. I didn't take as good notes as as I did for Final Fantasy 1. So yeah, I just want to apologize for that. Also, complete and utter transparency. Most of the fight, I used the Masamune Blade on my characters. I simply refuse to wait. Unless there's some kind of incentive for a bunch of people that want to see me play the game organically, I really just wanted to get through the story. So yeah, not my best work, and I want to admit that, but if you did enjoy the video, thank you so much. Always leave a like, comment, subscribe, all the things that you guys normally hear at the end of videos. We're going to jump into Final Fantasy 3 at some point. During the Final Fantasy 3 I have on the Steam. I think that's the version I'm going to play. And I think for that playthrough, I'm going to start like uploading my normal Let's Plays. If you guys happen to watch this video before the Final Fantasy 3 one's released, do me a solid. Let me know in the comments below if you want to see like the leveling up, the fighting, or do you want to see a TLDR version. So thank you guys so much once again. As always, you are valued, you are appreciated.